You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It's the Thursday Night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts podcast, where we go through more lineup changes than a AAA main event card. My name is Stevie J. Two men are on the line with me tonight. First up is the Great Sudoku, a.k.a. Jason Harlan.
Happy Halloween, Angry Marks out across America and the entire world. Happy Halloween to you all.
And happy Daylight Savings Time. Adjust your clocks this weekend as well, because that's what's coming up after Halloween. Also joining us on the line, the producer of many fine shows on this podcast network, the one and only Killy Kev.
Good evening to everyone, and happy All Saints Day and All Souls Day to those who celebrate this weekend.
Indeed, whether your holidays are pagan, Christian, or non-denominational, enjoy your holiday weekend and enjoy listening to Thursday Night AMP. Just like the people in our chat right now, including our friend Bionic Iguana, I'm in there, the Great Sudoku is in there, a guest 029 who prefers to remain anonymous for now is there, and somebody going by the name JBL is God. Is he really now? Let's get a quick round table on that. Kevin, is JBL God?
Who am I to disagree?
All right, Sudoku, what do you think?
God, he's not even Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well, funny you should mention it, because I know you've got some New Japan notes, and I figure, well, let's kick off the show with that, and then we'll get to Hell in a Cell in a little bit.
Sure, we'll go right into it, and it's interesting what New Japan is doing with Shinsuke Nakamura, who is the current IWGP Intercontinental Champion. They're actually having him main event the Power Struggle pay-per-view coming up November 11th, Saturday. It'll be early in the morning here, like 4 in the morning Eastern time, whatever that is, 3 Central, earlier for those of you who are in Central time, and out west you can figure out what time that is on your own. But the main event for Power Struggle is going to be Shinsuke Nakamura taking on the Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and I can see this being either feast or famine. This could either really elevate the career of Carl Anderson if he puts on a good match, or it could really put him in the doghouse and bury him if he tanks, because Shinsuke Nakamura is one of those guys who can get a good match out of a broomstick, but there's only so much you can do on your own, and I'd love to see Anderson do some of the non-wrestling kind of verbal and just the things he does to pump up the crowd as a heel, as a Bullet Club heel, and get, under the skin of the crowd. It's like, if he can work the crowd, he really doesn't need to work Nakamura as hard as he would if he doesn't get under the skin of the fans of New Japan. So I'm definitely looking at that dynamic. But yeah, Nakamura brings it, and this is kind of the first time I think they've given Carl Anderson a chance to step into the limelight, so to speak, and main event and give him a shot. So it'll definitely be an interesting main event to see.
Yes, Machine Gun will come out both guns blazing. I have no doubt about that.
And yeah, there will probably be lots and lots of Bullet Club members at ringside too. One guy who may or may not be there, AJ Styles. We don't know. He's been injured. He has a sciatic nerve injury. And I was talking before we went on air about this, that the sciatic nerve is nothing to mess with. I remember having sciatica, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, and I ended up going to the emergency room because it was excruciating just to sit down. And AJ Styles is thinking about bumping with this kind of excruciating pain where it hurts to sit down. So I don't know if we'll see him at ringside. Maybe He won't be in action on the card. Another group of people that may be there, the Young Bucks, they did sign a deal with Ring of Honor, which will still let them do New Japan dates, but basically says they can do like Ring of Honor. What's the other one? They can do Ring of Honor, they can do New Japan.
Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, that's the other.
PWG, that's the other one. That's what was alluding to, yeah. So they may be at ringside too. We'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, I definitely would expect the guys who are on the card like Bad Luck Fale. Oh, actually, they do have Styles on the card as of now with Bad Luck Fale, but we'll see if he makes it to air with that. But yeah, like Bad Luck Fale, Tamatonga, Cody Hall, we'll see if they should be there in support of the Machine Gun taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, who doesn't come out with any other members of Chaos. That's kind of my big knock against Chaos, is they don't band together like the Bullet Club does.
Well, if they did, then the Bullet Club wouldn't be unique. They wouldn't be as cool. They're the faction that rides or dies together.
I suppose so. I like seeing strength in numbers, and you can counter that with Chaos, but they kind of do their own thing. But,
speaking of strength in numbers, our chat room blew up while you were talking. Haku joined us, and New Day Rocks joined us.
Alrighty. Welcome, Haku. Welcome, New Day Rocks.
Oh, King Haku.
JBL was got to say New Day sucks.
King Haku. It's not Meng, it's not Haku, it's King Haku.
Oh, it's King Haku with does not come with crown as pictured.
No, I'm afraid not. But I am glad you brought up the
Shout
AJ
out to
Styles.
our Reynolds.
Indeed. But you brought up AJ, and that was a subject that came up today in the news because Ring of Honor was expecting him back by Final Battle. I hope he's healed up enough by then, but he's been told by the doctors not to take any bumps for a little while. And like you said, sciatica is not something you really want to mess around with. When it hurts to sit down, you definitely shouldn't be taking bumps.
Not at all, yeah. The sciatic nerve is nothing to mess with, and that can linger for quite a while. I mean, the pain deteriorates. I mean, it gets to the point where it's not excruciating to sit down anymore. It just hurts to sit down, but it does tend to linger. It drops off gradually. It drops off slowly. I got it from overdoing it with yoga, and yeah, I mean, it is painful, and I hope he recovers soon. It would be nice to see him on the card, but at the same time, I don't want him to rush back into the ring before he is fully healed and fully ready to be in the ring.
And you also mentioned the Young Bucks now having their Ring of Honor deal. The exclusivity is very interesting with them because apparently Ring of Honor has the right of first refusal on matching dates. So even if they can still work New Japan and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, they can't if there's a conflicting date with Ring of Honor. So they're guaranteed for ROH first. They can work PWG and New Japan secondarily. And I'm given to understand that in non-competing TV markets like Australia and Europe, they can work dates there. They just can't work TV for anybody in North America other than Ring of Honor.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be a problem with ROH with conflicting dates with New Japan, just given the working relationship that ROH and New Japan has, with ROH sending, especially tag teams with like the Kingdom and Red Dragon that they send over there all the time for all their events. It's like ROH knows when the big New Japan events are going on. They know when the big tag team events are going on. And I don't think they would say, well, yeah, you know, we have Wrestle Kingdom 10 coming up, but yeah, let's hold the Young Bucks back here. No, I don't think something like that's going to happen. You know, they do have the right of first refusal, but I also think they have a very good working relationship with New Japan, and the I's will be dotted, the T's will be crossed, and there won't be any conflicting dates for any major shows in New Japan.
No, I don't expect there to be either. I figure they've got a working relationship, especially, you know, Ring of Honor and New Japan have been trading talent throughout the year. I think any conflicting dates with the Young Bucks would be resorted to being solved before that became a problem.
Indeed, and yeah, with the Power Struggle card, there's only really one other match on the card that I'm semi-interested in, and that would be for the Never Open Championship, which Tomohiro Ishii just recently won. He's going to be defending that not against some big, hulking, strong-style bull, but rather against perennial fan favorite Tomoaki Honma.
Ooh.
This is going to be an interesting clash of styles.
Now, I don't think I'd be wrong in saying Hanma won't get the win, but it's the way he doesn't get the win that will be the interesting part.
Right, and I mean, there are other matches on the card that are going only with a 30-minute time limit. This is a title match. This and the IWGP Intercontinental title match are the only two matches on the card that are scheduled for a 60-minute time limit. So, yeah, I'm thinking they do with both titles that are on the line, the two titles they have up for grabs. It is going to be a longer match. They are going to let Hanma work that, but it'll be interesting to see, how many Kokeshis is he going to miss before he finally gets some offense in, because that's Tomoaki Hanma's kind of match script in a nutshell. It's like he misses the first 4 or 5 Kokeshi headbutts, holds his head, rises on the mat, gets his ass kicked, and then he finally hits 1, and then he hits 2 and 3, and he hits diving headbutts and running headbutts, and that's the attack he likes to use.
Indeed it is. So, a few things to look forward to on the upcoming New Japan show. Maybe not their top card right now, but things are building up towards Wrestle Kingdom, so they're not going to blow their wad. They're not going to give it all away early. Yeah,
they have the finals of the Super Junior Tag Team Tournament on this card as well, and then next month they're doing the not the junior but the heavyweight championship. They have heavyweight tag team championship tournament is coming up next month too after Power Struggle. So yeah, they're kind of, easing out of 2015 and getting ready to transition into 2016 with Wrestle Kingdom 10, which should be awesome. It would be nice if they had another English language commentary going for that this year on the actual New Japan World site.
I've heard they're probably going to do that. I don't know if it'll be distributed on traditional pay-per-view here like it was for Wrestle Kingdom 9, but there should be an English commentary team simulcasting on New Japan World. That's what I've given to understand.
And have you heard anything? Is it going to be Kevin Kelly and Matt Stryker again, or are they thinking about going with Mauro Ranallo and Josh Barnett? Have they talked about other commentators?
Probably going to be Kelly and Stryker. I think Mauro Ranallo and Barnett are exclusive to Access TV as of now.
Okay.
So
not a problem. I had no problem with the two of them calling the last pay-per-view for New Japan. So other people may not have liked it, but it was fine. It's like I had no problem with their commentary style whatsoever.
I'm fine with either team, but I do like Ranallo and Barnett a little better. Garber will probably disagree, but he's not here tonight. So stepping in for him, as we noted earlier, is Killer Kev, who just came back on the line after a brief hiatus. And I want to ask another roundtable question, since it's become a subject in the chat room. Kevin, what are your thoughts on the last real man, Silas Young?
I kind of like him. I like the cut of his jib, as they would say.
All right. Mr. Sudoku, are you familiar with the last real man, Silas Young?
I am not familiar with Silas Young, no.
All right. Well, I'll direct you to Ring of Honor on Destination America, or if you have the ROH Wrestling Premium membership, you can watch it there. Or if you have a local Sinclair affiliate, watch it on the weekend on one of those channels. But I will say the last real man, Silas Young, he's kind of a throwback. That's the best way I can put it. He's from an era where men were men, women were women, and sheep were scared.
He's not quite like the vaudevillians, but it's definitely a real macho masculine gimmick.
Yes, that is precisely the definition I was going for.
If you kind of think of a little bit of like Joey Ryan's classic character, Silas Young would almost be like his father.
Yeah.
Like if Matt Classic wasn't a comedy wrestler. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
I think, yeah. So somewhere a cross between Matt Classic and Joey Ryan.
I'll have to check this out. Yeah, I have like 3 Sinclair affiliates that show ROH on the weekends here, and they all come in on my broadcast antenna, so I have no reason at all not to check out Ring of Honor, especially with T-Mobile turning heel and shutting my tethering off this month, which really angered me. But
yeah,
by the time the pay-per-view rolls around for New Japan, I'll have Verizon Internet service, which will be faster anyway.
All right. Well, let's move on from the last real man to the last WWE pay-per-view, which was Hell in a Cell. Now, I know sometimes when you watch these things, you have to grab the bottle of Nikolai vodka. So instead of asking you thumbs up or thumbs down, I'll ask you how many shot glasses did it take?
Oh, boy. come up with some of these. But yeah, this one actually wasn't too bad. It's like, in my opinion, for Hell in a Cell, it's like everybody who needed to win won. It's like it wasn't like, oh my God, they're putting Kane over, let me hit the Nikolai. Oh my God, they're putting Ryback over. Like everything the way that it should go.
Fair enough. Kevin,
and there was a swerve that would make Vince Russo proud in this pay-per-view too.
Oh, there were a couple of swerves, which is why I want to go to Killy Kevin and get his opinion on the pay-per-view as a whole.
I would have only needed a shot for the main event.
Okay. So I didn't see the preliminary match. I started recapping at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, Kev, did you catch the prelim match or not?
No, I didn't, and I didn't really feel that there was a need to. I mean, my impression was we pretty much saw the match on Raw, so.
Yeah, I believe it was a repeat of a 6-man from Raw. So, nothing really special there other than the fact that I now hear that Sheamus and Barrett are officially considered a tag team by WWE, loosely being called the European Ultras, but that is not their official name.
Euro Ultras, clap, 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 clap.
I don't think that's going to get over as much as New Day Rocks. New Day Rocks.
Well, no, but I don't think anything can get over as that right now.
No.
Yeah, European Ultras sounds like a knockoff of the Power Rangers.
European Ultras sounds like soccer hooligans, if you ask me.
and with Barrett and Sheamus, that kind of fits.
Yeah, that's true. They're both big, tall, bare-knuckle bruisers, so that's a perfect gimmick for them. I think even Bionic Iguana would agree with us on that. So, Kevin, what did you think of the opening match for the United States title and the big surprise that we got to open the show?
This Alberto Del Rio reappearing with WWE may be the biggest legit swerve that WWE has served up in a decade.
I certainly didn't see it coming. I knew he had turned down some dates in Europe. I knew he had not renewed with Lucha Underground. I knew he was negotiating with WWE. I didn't realize the deal had already been struck.
Yeah, I mean, just to take this aside for a second, and I kind of went over this on Raw Reaction on Monday night, so if you want to deal with my cheap plug there for just a moment and listen to a great show, listen to this past Monday's Raw Reaction. But I'm actually kind of concerned about this. Don't get me wrong, I am very glad that Del Rio is back because I love Del Rio. And I thought he always did great things with WWE, and as a wrestler, I never had an issue with him, but I kind of do have an issue now. And the main reason why is because when Del Rio left this company, he didn't just leave it, he ran. And he ran with an accusation that he was racially discriminated against, and that WWE was a racist organization and he could no longer deal with it. So if WWE is such a racist organization, as backed up by Ricardo Rodriguez as well, why would he go back? And there's only two reasons why I think you go back. And the most obvious and most cynical reason is they offered him enough money and enough prestige to make it worth his time. And if that's the case, then that kind of completely discredits everything he said. It's like, yeah, they're racist and I couldn't deal with it, but if they pay me more money, I can ignore it. That's okay.
Money talks, bullshit walks. That's the old rule in everything, including professional wrestling.
Indeed. The only other reason I can think of, and I've kind of heard this as well over the past week, WWE and Triple H took his allegations seriously, investigated it, found the issues, got rid of it, and made him a promise that this would never happen again. Well,
they did to a degree because the guy who talked smack to him in catering got fired. He's no longer with the company.
Right, but from what I was understanding from Rodriguez, it wasn't just that one guy. It's multiple instances from multiple people. But if WWE really did get this cleaned up, first of all, kudos to them. But second of all, I think what Del Rio has to do is go back into the press and explain why he's back with a racist organization and saying, okay, they cleaned it up. I looked at it. I'm satisfied that it's not going to happen again. And that's why I went ahead and returned with the company. If he doesn't do that quickly, then I kind of think that, puts a stain on the accusations as well. And in either case, if Del Rio doesn't address this quickly or doesn't address it at all, then I think it just kind of makes his word look bad.
Well, as our friend Iguana said in the chat room, they wrote him a big, fat, racist dissolving check. So he may just not care whether he has to back up what he said, as long as he can count the zeros at the end of his paycheck.
Yeah, I mean...
Money, 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 money. It's Ted DiBiase's theme. Like he said, everybody has a price, and Del Rio has his.
Honestly, the first song I thought of was Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money. Here comes the money.
And what are we hearing about that agreement? $1.4 million?
Yeah, that's his downside guarantee.
For a year?
Yeah, plus limited dates. He kind of got the Brock Lesnar deal.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, awesome for him. I mean, any wrestler that can negotiate a deal like that, they should get it. And I think with a world-class athlete like Del Rio, definitely deserves it. Especially if, all the shit he went through was true. So... Yes. But back to the match at hand. Yes, I am shocked that Del Rio came out. Even more shocked that they did a complete 360 and brought out Zeb Coulter to put over Del Rio. Now, first of all, I'm thinking, why does Del Rio even need a manager? And second of all, why do we need Zeb Coulter here? Because
and third of all, why the guy who once hated every immigrant and every foreigner is suddenly all in favor of a Mexican American?
Well, that kind of seems like classic WWE managers. I mean, how many managers over the years have, especially in WWE, WWF, taken one position and then they will completely flip on a dime for whatever reason, usually money or prestige. I'm
not saying this is even the first time Zeb Coulter has sold out. He did it for Cesaro and simply claimed that Cesaro was a better American than most other Americans out there. But he at least tried to keep it consistent with his beliefs in his own hypocrisy. With this, he just did a complete 180 on his beliefs altogether and said, hey, guess what? America's the land of opportunity. This Mexican wants an opportunity. I want him to get it. It's like, wait a minute. Just 6 months ago, you couldn't build a wall high enough between the U.S. and Mexico, and now you love Alberto Del Rio. It doesn't quite
His promo on Raw just fell flat on his face. It was just like, what?
Yeah, I mean...
What are you talking about,
And really, if you think about it, though, everybody had done forgot about this shit. He'd been off TV long enough. We don't remember him being racist. We don't remember... Jack Swagger being racist. We don't remember Cesaro being associated with this. We all had amnesia on this. We were done.
This is why we're a wrestling website with a wrestling podcast, because we have long-term memory and we don't forget things after 6 months.
Well, okay, we didn't forget, but it was all the way in the back of our minds, and he hadn't been on TV, and we were just glad it was done and over with. We didn't have to mention it again. It just kind of faded away, but now it's back.
Well, the real question, I think this deserves an answer more than why Zeb Coulter has suddenly switched sides in the debate. What happened to Jack Swagger? Where is he? What happened to him being with Zeb Coulter? What's the answer to that?
Well, I mean, I know that they've had Swagger on like Main Event and Superstars, but they've not had Zeb Coulter there, and that's kind of been basically for the fact that Zeb Coulter was supposedly injured and out. And of course, in real life, he actually really was sick and out. So, that made sense there. But now that we've got Zeb Coulter back on the screen, yeah, where is Jack Swagger? Where is the All-American American? Why is he not on screen with this new Mex-American alliance?
And what's really going to be weird about this, and I want Sudoku's opinion on this as well, so Jason, feel free to chime in at any second here, but are we going to get the situation where Jack Swagger is the heel and turns on Zeb Coulter and Alberto Del Rio and says, you sold out your values, you sold out your beliefs?
With Alberto Del Rio, I think for a very short period of time after he comes back, like right now, you can play him up as a babyface. but Del Rio is so much better as a heel, and it would make so much more sense to have Alberto Del Rio turn heel, have him turn on Zeb, have him turn on Jack Swagger, have Del Rio turn on anybody you want to throw him with, because Del Rio as a heel is money. Del Rio as a face, it's like when anybody comes back to WWE, they get that face pop from the crowd. They can be a baby face for a month, maybe 2 months at the most, but I don't see Del Rio as a face having legs at all.
Well, there's a problem with that. Sorry to cut you off, Kevin, but the reason they're willing to give Del Rio such a huge downside and limited dates and put the U.S. title on him the first week is because they need a top Hispanic draw. And heels aren't usually your draws in WWE. The baby faces are. They want him to be John Cena for the Hispanic market.
What about a guy like Eddie Guerrero who was a heel and Hispanic? He was a top draw.
Well, Eddie Guerrero had charisma off the freaking charts, so he could be anything he wanted to and people would pay to see it.
Well, you know what?
Granted, Del Rio doesn't have that kind of charisma, but I do think Del Rio has that kind of charisma to pull it off. I mean, just look at that shit-eating grin that he has when he steps into the ring. He doesn't have to say anything. He just kind of flashes that grin, and it's like, there it is.
That's true. Okay, Kevin, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, really, I don't think he is a baby face here. I mean, yeah, the crowd's cheering for him, but the reason the crowd cheered for him at the pay-per-view was because he was wrestling John Cena. And
the fact he was wrestling in Southern California, which has a huge Hispanic population.
Yeah, I mean, basically hometown crowd for Del Rio, who's not gonna pop for him. Plus, the huge anti-John Cena factor. I mean, John Cena, when he came out there and just the way he looked, I could just tell the look on his face, whoever they were bringing him out, Cena was losing, and you could tell he would almost just love to be able to play the heel in this, just to kind of revel in that moment, because you knew his opponent was just going to be so over with the crowd, whoever it was. But if you look at how Del Rio wrestled in this match and how he wrestled on Raw the next night, it's heel. It's very strong heel. I mean, it's not quite a dickish heel. It's definitely not a chicken shit heel, but it is definitely heel style wrestling, whether the fans are cheering for it or not.
I think it's just a big confused jumble of a mess right now, what he's supposed to be, because you pair it with Zeb Coulter, you would think that's a heel move, but like you said, he's still getting the babyface pop. So it's very ambiguous right now.
But I'll tell you, it's a big jumble of a mess too right now is AAA. AAA just lost two of their biggest stars in Alberto Del Rio and Mystices, Mystico, Sin Cara.
Mystic 2.0, as he's now being
Mystic
called.
2.0. I just call him Mil Nombre, the man of 1,000 names, because he goes by. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested to see if they'll bring Mystic 2.0 or whoever he is. Once he jumps to CMLL, will New Japan want to bring him in? That's kind of a crossover I'd be interested in seeing. But yeah, if you're AAA, you are hurting right now from losing these two guys. You're just kind of reeling and rocking from that. It's like a Mike Tyson left jab right there.
Yeah, plus the fact that he is their AAA Mega Heavyweight Champion, so his conflicting dates with WWE aren't going to allow him to return and drop that title. He may have to mail it back to them, FedEx.
Yeah. He's not going to throw it in a trash can on Raw?
No. I believe he has a good relationship with them and vice versa. He may not be able to come back and drop the belt, but he's not going to burn that bridge because he always knows he could go back there someday after his second WWE run is done. They would probably bring him back.
Yeah, they probably
I wouldn't doubt it.
You know, and really, I think WWE has a fairly good relationship with them as well. I mean, you know, they're not trading talent or anything, but as far as how they ended up working out the issue with his contract with WWE and what he was doing with Triple Mania, I think they did a good job quietly and peacefully negotiating that, and I really don't think WWE wants to rock that boat.
No, they're not going to do anything disrespectful at this point. There's no reason to. It serves them no purpose. They're not going to get any heat on Del Rio by having him do something stupid like that. It would serve no good end.
Yeah, exactly. But
all right.
But back to this match. I loved this match. This match set the crowd on fire. I really liked the end of it. It was really not your typical John Cena match. It really, Cena was put away in an unspectacular fashion, and
clean in the middle,
and with a pair of moves that were just simple and clean. The reversal into the backstabber, and then the super kick after. That was it. And if you kind of look at Del Rio's finish the next night, it wasn't a real spectacular or flashy move. It was just an opportunistic move on Neville, and it just took him right out. He didn't have to spend all night setting up for the armbar and then doing it. He just took advantage of whatever was there. And Del Rio looks so fabulously in shape right now. I just could not help but feel that this was a match that really set the pace for the whole night.
Now, Jason, you may call me crazy when I suggest this, but I'll put this out there. I'll put it to you like this. I feel that the way they've brought Del Rio in and the way he's been booked the first week since his return is very New Japan. I feel like they're saying this guy doesn't have to use his finisher to win. He's just good enough to win any way he wants.
Indeed, and yeah, again, that would be more, kind of a New Japan way, but it's less of a WWE way where an established star comes back and it's like, I'm not going to use that armbar finisher. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to beat John Cena in less than 10 minutes. It was the second shortest match on the card, and he goes out there and he just rocks him, and that's the way you want to do it. It's keeping Del Rio fresh. It's not the same stale, stagnant character that is the WWE formula that gets on my nerves when they have one guy with like one move, like John Cena. Well, he's got 5 moves of doom, but But it was good to see. I think everybody liked seeing Cena drop the belt and seeing Cena lose. I think there's still a giant anti-Cena sentiment among wrestling fans, and yeah, I really wish they would. It's like I think we're gonna have to wait until Vince McMahon dies or relinquishes control of the company before we see a John Cena heel turn. I mean, this is gonna be like Hulk Hogan and the NWO once John Cena finally does turn heel in 10, 20 years down the road.
Right, but there's no WCW for John Cena to go to, and Lord knows if TNA is even around in 20 years, I don't think Cena would work there.
Who knows? They managed to hold on by a thread somehow, so you never know. Never say never.
If John Cena were to ever leave WWE, he's the next member of Bullet Club.
Yeah, there's a better chance of him being in Bullet Club. No, that's funny, but it's also true. There's legitimately a better chance of him going to New Japan than to going to TNA.
Oh, he could have like a Fruity Pebbles colored Bullet Club shirt just for him.
Can you imagine Cena-Hashi versus Cena?
Oh my, Cena-Hashi versus Cena. Oh my goodness. What was I saying? I was saying on Twitter during the Tanahashi match at the Road to Power Struggle, I'm like, they ought to call his high fly flow the 5-knuckle frog splash. And it's like the two of them are just so indistinguishable with how repetitive and how much they go back to the well to their moveset that doesn't consist of very much at all. It's nice to see Del Rio be able to pull things out that we haven't seen from him before, at least not in the WWE. And you're used to seeing, this slower, methodical, I'm going to break your arm style that he used to do. But no, it's like now he can come out, he can work a match, he can work a different style. There you go. It just shows what an athlete Del Rio is and how versatile he is.
I agree. But we have probably spent more time talking about Del Rio's return than the actual match took. So, I'm going to move us on to Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt inside the confines of Hell in a Cell. So, Kevin, let me get your thoughts first.
I thought that this was a good match. Not a great match, but I thought both of them worked to their potential. I'm glad to see Roman Reigns get the win, and I hope that they are finally moving on.
It seems to me this not only finally killed the feud between Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, I think it actually turned a corner on the fans with Roman Reigns because they had resented him. They had kind of adopted the Bray Wyatt anybody but you type of vibe, and he worked so hard in this match. and busted his ass to such a degree that I think the fans, even if begrudgingly, had accepted Roman Reigns after this match. They were okay with him winning. They were okay with him on Raw the next night. I feel, Jason, you can agree or disagree, that this helped Roman Reigns a great deal.
I will agree. This was something that we were talking about in our preview show when Stro was on, saying how Roman Reigns really needed a victory and a decisive victory over Bray Wyatt to elevate his character to legitimacy in the main event in the WWE, and he worked. And this match seemed to go on forever, but not in a I need 4 shots of Nikolai vodka kind of way. I mean, this was a good match. Like Kev said, it wasn't a great match, but it was entertaining. For Hell in a Cell, which can be, again, feast or famine, it was feast, but it was on the lean side of feast.
I think you can definitely say with this that not only did Roman Reigns earn the win, I think he finally earned a little bit of the respect of the fans.
I think he also showed his ability to be innovative in the match, as did Bray Wyatt. We've all seen Hell in a Cell 30 plus times now, so it feels like everything that can be done has been done, but 2 times during this pay-per-view, they got away with surprising me during one of these matches, and the first 2 times that I really felt like, hey, this is a little bit different than we're used to seeing, were in this match when Bray Wyatt stuck a chair through the fence and turned it into a weapon propped out of the fence toward the ring. And the second time was when the kendo sticks were stuck into the turnbuckle pads and jutted out like you were going to get your eye gouged if you were rammed head first into it. And both times that was turned against him, but that helped Roman Reigns, and that helped this match.
Agreed.
Okay, so if we're all in agreement on that, I guess we can just move on to the New Day versus the Dudley Boys. And speaking of things that feel like they're over and done with, I hate to say this, but I feel like the Dudley Boys are no longer going to be considered for the titles. I think their time has come and gone. I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, it
was just dead. The crowd was just dead for them. It's like I was saying with ADR, when he came back, they popped for him. They popped for the Dudleys when they came back. But boy, that initial, welcome back pop has completely worn off. And it's like the fans couldn't be any colder for the Dudley Boys if they were in Antarctica.
Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, my prediction on them winning the titles was mostly just kind of for nostalgia because my prediction was that the Dudley Boys would win just simply so they could claim for their 10th title and then New Day would take it back the next night. I'd have no problem with a hot shot, but really WWE doesn't hot shot titles all that often anyway, so it doesn't surprise me that New Day won, and very pleased that New Day won.
The thing I'm hearing right now is that the Dudley Boys are so cold that they're actually looking at Jimmy and Jey Uso as the next feud for the New Day. They've already moved past the Dudley Boys completely.
Well, and that's fine. Dudley Boys coming back for a minute, perfectly fine with me. I mean, hell, we got New Age Outlaws last year for, a little bit longer than a minute, but still, we got them for a period, and it was nice nostalgia, but really, it's nice that WWE wants to focus on building the newer, younger talent that they've got in their back pocket and finding things to do with that new talent rather than trying to find new things to do with old talent that everybody is familiar with their story.
I can't fault anything you said, but I do feel almost a little twinge of regret that the Dudley Boys didn't get that win at Madison Square Garden live on the WWE Network. That could have been such a tremendous pop if they had won the titles against the New Day, even if they only held it for a cup of coffee, even if they dropped it back to them the very next night. It still would have justified bringing back the Dudley Boys to give them one more ride before they went off into the sunset.
Well, there's always the MSG show on December 26th.
Yeah, but if it's cold now, it's going to be even colder in December.
I don't know.
All right, well, we'll just move on from that. Charlotte and Nikki Bella, and nobody from either of their respective cliques was allowed to be there at ringside. And
Yay.
Charlotte wins clean with the figure eight. So let's get Mr. Sudoku to chime in first.
And yeah, this is exactly what needed to happen. Nikki Bella had held the title for eons and eons and eons. Charlotte finally defeats her. It's way too soon to have her drop the title. I like that they didn't have, either of the cliques at ringside to interfere, that it was a clean win, that she's going to win by her typical figure eight submission. I mean, yeah, it was what it was. It was a Divas match, but it went the way that I wanted it to go.
It's very rare that I say good things about Nikki Bella either in my news updates or on these podcasts. So make a note, write this one down on your calendar, the day Stevie J said something nice about Nikki Bella. She worked up to Charlotte's level in this match and delivered a good match. Kevin, your thoughts?
I agree with the both of you, and I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, so, in short, Charlotte and Nikki Bella had a good match on pay-per-view that none of us were mad at. So, as far as a Divas Revolution goes, that's probably the most revolutionary thing they've done, is Nikki Bella had a decent match on pay-per-view.
With a clean win.
Yes. I'm sorry, that's making me laugh so hard I'm choking up here. It's like finally something good comes from this revolution after all.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Stevie J, he's having the heart attack. He's gone.
Oh, I'm coming for you, Wheezy. Wheezy, I'm coming for you. That joke's so old, I'm sure it just flew over everybody's heads.
For some of the younger audience, possibly.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what our demographic is. We'll have to get a breakdown on that. Kev, give us the statistics on that sometime. And by the way, Ed wants statistics on Over the Top Radio if you could get those for him.
Yeah, I've not done statistics for a while. I guess I should. This next coming week will probably be a good week to start looking those up, I guess.
All right, cool. Well, we'll look forward to that report. But in the meantime, Seth Rollins and the Demon Kane, Corporate Kane, some kind of Kane was out there in the ring with him. And the one we call Corporate Kane, his job was on the line if he lost. And he lost. Mr. Sudoku, your thoughts?
Yeah, we have Demon Kane and Corporate Kane and Kiss Demon. And, it's like the last three matches here. Three guys I don't want to see. Kane, Ryback, and The Undertaker. I was rooting for Kane to lose. He lost, but then he came back, and what's the point of having Demon Kane lose if he's coming back? But which Kane is coming back? It's so confusing.
Whichever Kane is coming back, it's the one that's helping his brother Undertaker after what happened to him, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So, Kevin, your thoughts?
I thought that this was a really good match, and once again, Seth Rollins gets a win over an established and very credible WWE legend, and I think this has done nothing but continue to solidify his success record that Seth Rollins can not only look good, but represent WWE and be able to get these wins on his own. He may have to pull it by the skin of his teeth or even out of his ass sometimes, but he's getting these wins and he's looking good.
The only thing I want to disagree with in that assertion, Kevin, is that Seth Rollins always looks good and gets the win because he's like 3-20 in his last 23 matches. Now, granted, the 3 are the 3 that counted, but to me, they've kind of given him the Rey Mysterio booking where you lose all the time on Raw and SmackDown and then retain the title on pay-per-view. I'm not sure that's the greatest way to build up a champion. I'm glad he won. I'm glad the storyline came to the right conclusion. I just feel like Seth Rollins needs to get the win on TV a little more often.
Yeah, but he gets the wins that is necessary.
I suppose so. You know what? I want Jason's opinion on this. Does Seth Rollins do enough for you, or do you think it's a little bit of the Mysterio booking?
I think it's kind of more of the Roman Reigns booking, where he needed a win over a solid opponent like Reigns got over Wyatt. Rollins needed a solid win. I don't know if Kane is the guy to do that. I might have flipped the script there and had Kevin Owens take on Kane and have Seth Rollins go over Ryback. But it is what it is. He retained his title, and a win is a win. It's just kind of a shame that all this corporate Kane, Demon Kane, director of operations bullcrap is kind of entwined with this match. That's why I'd much rather have had the script flipped, have him go over somebody clean, get rid of this stupid angle, and let Seth Rollins be Seth Rollins.
Right, and then let Seth Rollins move on to his feud with Roman Reigns, which is what they established on Raw. So it seems like it's good for the goose, good for the gander, good for everybody. But what's not good is I took a bathroom break after this match, and Kevin Owens and Ryback was so short, the shortest match on the entire pay-per-view, that I actually missed it. All I heard was pop-up powerbomb 1, 2, 3, and by the time I came back out to my TV, it was over. And now I know it's on Roku, it's on WWE Network. I could have rewound it, but I'm like, if they decided to pull the trigger and make the match that fast, what's to rewind and watch? What did they do in the previous 5 minutes that would be worth caring about? So one of you can tell me, Kevin, was there anything that I should have rewound to see?
Well, considering that I was not a fan of the main event, really, I would have taken the time to rewind this match. You would have seen a slobber knocker of a match, and if you like short slobber knockers where you're not quite sure who's going to get the win, but when the win comes, it's just like, damn, that was good. I thought this was a good, solid match. It was shortest match on the card, but I was not disappointed with it at all.
Okay, well, I guess I will have to go back and watch this one on the network then. But Jason, what do you say?
Is Jason beatboxing over there?
I wonder. It sounds like a bunch of explosions going off. Maybe that's his opinion of Ryback wrestling. Maybe he just had to hit the bottle so hard he fell down and fell on the microphone and fell on the floor and the mic fell on him and all things went to hell.
Just our couple of minutes of it, he already had to hit 4 vodkas.
Yeah, that's how little he likes Ryback, apparently.
Jason, are you there? All right, we'll leave him in there. Jason, are you back?
My opinion on the match, I was saying Stevie didn't miss much. He missed Ryback almost getting counted out, and he missed a Ryback not taking the first pop-up powerbomb, and that was about it. Yeah, it was short, it was sweet, and yeah, with a match that short, I only had time for one shot of Nikolai vodka.
If you got through it with only one shot, that's not too bad.
It's the one shot of, oh my god, I have to watch a Ryback match. Let me get a shot ready.
All right. Well, I'll go back and watch it, because Kevin says it was a slobber knocker, and you say it was only a one-shot match, so 5 minutes that I can afford to take. But I thought the main event was a little too quick, and I felt like they must have rushed through Owens and Ryback to give this match more time, so I was surprised when Undertaker and Lesnar only went 18 minutes. Granted, that's longer than a 3-round MMA match by about a minute, if you count the 1 minute between rounds, but I expected more, and the more actually turned out to be the post-match angle. But I will say, I did note that twice during this pay-per-view, they did things in Hell in a Cell that were a little out of the ordinary for a Hell in a Cell match, and I don't know how many times they can go back to the format of Hell in a Cell and reinvent it. They're going to run out of ways to do it eventually. But peeling up the mats to expose the boards and doing moves on the exposed boards, that was pretty creative. Kevin, what did you think?
That would have been really creative if they had actually pulled off the spots right. Unfortunately, they did not. I mean, I was in awe that Lesnar was pulling it up, because oh yeah, wow, I've never seen this done before. This is going to be good. And then it all spectacularly failed. Every spot that they planned to do on those boards didn't hit the boards, didn't come near the fucking boards, and the tombstone pile driver that was supposed to let Lesnar away, not only could you clearly see not on the boards, but you could clearly see Lesnar's head was a good 2 foot above the ring. It looked pitiful, and I hated this match. It was so slow. Lesnar had to be so gentle with Undertaker, and it turned my stomach. I hope to fucking God no more Undertaker matches ever, ever, ever.
Wow, you were way more savage on this than I was. So let me give the countering viewpoint, and then Jason can come in and break the tie, because I thought the fact they both got juice in this match, even though that's strictly taboo in modern day PG WWE, I thought that added drama to the match. I enjoyed both of them going for MMA moves on each other. I enjoyed Undertaker going for the triangle choke, aka Hell's Gate. I enjoyed Brock Lesnar going for Kimuras and getting ground and pound when he got Undertaker beaten up with a few suplexes. I know that most of the time on a tombstone pile driver, nobody's head comes anywhere near the mat. I've become used to that, so it doesn't bother me. I'd rather they be safe than actually jack up somebody's neck, so I'm not going to complain about that. And I felt like it was the definitive conclusion to the trilogy that this needed so that everybody involved could move on. Lesnar gets the win. Undertaker, he fought valiantly, but he couldn't beat him twice in a row. So, Jason, what do you think? Whose side are you on in this?
Now, let me start by answering your question of what can they do to kind of keep Hell in a Cell fresh. Well, with Paul Heyman out there, the ECW mark in me wanted him to wrap that cage in barbed wire, get out a couple car batteries and some jumper cables, and hook those suckers up to the bars and fry it. Have a nice electrified barbed wire Hell in a Cell match. Heck, if you need to, bring Atsushi Onita in for some consultation on this one. I mean, you want to go hardcore with Hell in a Cell, you can get a lot more hardcore. I've watched Big Japan from back in the day. I know what you can do with this. You can bring in some cactuses and some scorpions and set some like cloth on fire on the cell too. But yeah,
we can go straight up Wrestling Society X and have an exploding piranha tank in the middle of the cage.
Yes, we need one of those too. But yeah, I can see where Kevin's coming from. That's kind of my opinion as a mark. It's like, yes, when you were saying that the Undertaker, only went for an 18-minute match, I'm like, well, how long do Undertaker matches usually go? It's like Methuselah Calloway here in the ring, and it's like, oh, again. But that's just me being down on the Undertaker. The fans, at least the fans in attendance, didn't seem to notice that the Tombstone looked as bad as it did. They were chanting, this is awesome. They were really getting into the match and they were liking it. And I'm thinking that maybe me being Marky Mark in a match involving The Undertaker, but yeah, just being the angry Mark that I am and not wanting to see The Undertaker anymore is clouding my judgment of what other people got out of the match. But that being said, yes, like I said, I don't want to see Kane. I don't want to see Ryback. I don't want to see The Undertaker, especially not The Undertaker. And yeah, my preview prediction going into this, I was saying, Brock Lesnar by right should win this. It shouldn't even be close. They made it entertaining. They made it close. But that said, yeah, I don't want to see The Undertaker. He deserved to lose. He did lose, and it was good to see that.
Well, let me just jump in here for just a minute and say, if it was not for those last few minutes in the match, once Lesnar exposed the boards and completely they ended up ruining every spot, I probably would not have been nearly as savage about it, because I like how this started out. The fact that the action immediately went outside of the ring and Lesnar immediately getting busted open and drawing color, and even the drama of the cameraman nearly getting smashed in the middle of the action, that was kind of nice. And if you'd gotten a much nicer, cleaner finish to this match, I wouldn't have been so hard on it. But that last few minutes of this match just pissed me off so much, because Undertaker is so old and fragile that this is how Lesnar had to pace himself in the match, that it completely, literally exposed everything in a bad way. That is just what really soured me on this match more than anything.
Well, I think we're going to have to declare this one a draw, because I'm strongly in favor of the match. You're strongly against the match, and Jason's more like a 9-9 card here, where he's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of The Undertaker, but the fans seem to like it, so that's okay. So I'm going to call it a draw. Are we in all agreement about that?
Yeah,
we could call it a draw.
And I'll definitely agree with Jason. The fans are the ones that liked it, and maybe at the end of the day, that's really more important than whatever my Mark view is.
Well, what they didn't like was the post-match angle after Lesnar left victorious, albeit falling down a couple of times on the ramp to sell how brutal it was, but he still left victorious, and the pay-per-view did not immediately go off the air, which made me suspect something was up because there was a lot of time left, and there certainly was. The Wyatt music hit. The foursome came down to the ring. Not 3, but 4. Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman, the Fatal Four, came down, surrounded the ring, gave Undertaker nowhere to go, no place to turn. He tried to fight valiantly. He was overcome. They picked him up and carried him off to a chorus of boo.
They gave him no quarter.
They did not. And it seems to be leading to Survivor Series, the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker at Survivor Series, getting his vengeance on Bray Wyatt. Do you like this or not, Kevin?
I'm not really decided on it yet. It was definitely intriguing on one aspect, but on the other, if they're doing this and this ends up being another Undertaker match, I'm just gonna like, fuck, no, not another Undertaker match, no!
Alright. I imagine Jason probably leans towards the no, fuck no part of this.
Maybe, I mean, if it's, like Kev said, if it's just another Undertaker match, then no, fuck no. But if this is leading to something where you have the Undertaker reuniting with Kane, and in addition to that, looking for 2 more members to join their team to take on the Wyatt family, who they're looking at and who they choose could prove to be interesting.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to lean that direction as well. I wouldn't want a one-on-one Undertaker-Bray Wyatt feud because, as Iguana has already pointed out, Wyatt and Undertaker have been there, done that, WrestleMania, Undertaker beat him, it should be over and done with. So, if they're going to go this direction again, it needs to be traditional Survivor Series teams, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, whatever you make it, but do it that way.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm leaning on this too. It's probably going to be Undertaker, Kane, and 2 other guys against the Wyatts in a traditional Survivor Series match, and
that's the best way. If you're worried about Methuselah, as we're calling him now, being so slow and ancient, you can cover that up by having 4 other people. You can have a 4-on-4, and he won't have to be in there for long.
Yeah, that's true. Or, hey, even better, how about Undertaker not wrestle and we just get somebody else in there to represent him? And, maybe he's at ringside or something, or, hey, maybe he's now dead and he's in the urn, and the urn is at ringside inspiring somebody.
You know what? I scoff, I chuckle, but since Paul Bearer is dead, I really don't want to go there with the urn. I think we should just leave that alone.
Oh, well, if it was TNA...
We could always dress Brian Lee up like The Undertaker again.
No. Not even for WrestleCrap.com do I want that.
No, but you're right. I mean, that is, when they do 4-on-4, that is a good way where you have a guy who is older to show his strengths and hide his weaknesses, and New Japan Pro Wrestling is great at doing this with guys like Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata, and Manabu Nakanishi, and even guys like Tenzin and Kojima, guys who are no longer in their prime, but you put them in an 8-man tag team match or a 10-man tag team match. They get in, they get their shit in, they get out, and some of the younger guys come in, and, they're in the ring for longer than some of the older guys, but by no way does it expose the older wrestlers or make them look bad.
Well, speaking of getting in, getting out, and getting our shit done, we're probably bumping up on an hour here, and I think that's about enough of us rambling on things, so I'm going to go for cheap plugs at this time. And I want to go to the veggiebending.wordpress.com and find out if there are any new recipes. While you're doing that, just go ahead and tell me what we got, Jason.
VeggieBending.wordpress.com. There aren't any new recipes yet, but the good news is I did get my new phone with a working camera on it, so I should be able to take more pictures of things that I am cooking now. So I just need to realize now that I've got a working camera to do that. Other cheap plugs, you can get at me on Twitter at Great Sudoku. I threw up some awesome jack-o'-lantern pictures of 3 jack-o'-lanterns I carved, so check those out on Twitter at Great Sudoku. Another cheap plug for New Japan World, njpwworld.com. Get that before the 7th of November, and you can watch the Power Struggle pay-per-view, the best 999 yen you can spend a month.
Yes, and as I always do, yen to dollar conversion, it is currently $8.26.
There you go. Less than $8.30, cheaper than the WWE network.
Absolutely. Kevin, what do you have for cheap plugs?
Just listen to all the shows on the AngryMarks Podcast Network. We put together some great episodes. We do it every week, and if you're not listening, you're missing out on some really good free quality entertainment.
Absolutely. And my cheap plug will be youtube.com/AngryMarks.com. You can hear highlights of all of our shows there. You can hear mixed martial arts interviews there. I do a ton of them for MMAmania.com. So you can check all of that out on our YouTube channel. And you can follow me on Twitter at AngryMarks. So Thursday night AMP. George J. Garber couldn't join us tonight, but hopefully he'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have a football update from Rob the Many here at some point in the next week or two. But until then, for the Great Sudoku, Jason Harlan, for Killer Kev, and for myself, Stevie J, thank you and good night.
Tonight to be forgiven. It's your turn. You get what you deserve. Get the punishment.